call the, oops, I gave him, okay. I'd like to call the meeting together for the PZA for Wednesday, August 21st, 224. Can we get a roll call, please, Kelly?
Mr. Featherling?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Weber? Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff? Ms. Foster? Ms. Andrade? Mr. Ashcraft? Ms. Turner? Mr. Marion? Mr. Lowy?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to let Mr. Long and Mr. Swanson in? Okay, Bob, all right, right. Cool. Mr. Eckhoff, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. None. Okay, good to go.
Thank
you guys are working? You there? Okay. Okay, first up we have public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? I don't have any slips or really see anybody that might be interested in anything, so we get approval of minutes. Everybody received their minutes. They get any changes, additions, deletions, or corrections, or anything they want to make in them? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them. Okay. Pardon? Mr. Miller and Mr. Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. None. Okay. Okay, Delbert Skimmerhorn, we have a building report and a few things from you.
Yes,
today?
we do.
Got you on.
Turn me on?
Yep.
Yep. All right, you have in your packet the building report for July of 2024. We issued one house permit for a new home, no mobile homes. Total of 100 permits and brought in revenue of $42,910.
Okay, anyone have any questions on the building report? You want to get them all at once, or just go ahead?
No, you should go through each one of these. These are all separate items. Well, you can probably do the two decommissioning plans combined.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Eckhoff? You can't. Okay. Mr. Lowry? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Nice. Building report's done. Okay. Okay, Delbert, we have our stormwater discussion again, our MS4 program, and we haven't had much rain. Anybody have any issues they want to talk to Delbert about MS4, Del? You got anything to say?
We will be starting probably in the next month to go around doing our outfall inspections. One of our inspectors goes out twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, and looks at outfalls, which is the anything that is in our jurisdiction that would be dumping stormwater into the river, either pipes or tributaries, and they go out at the at that location and look for any we take a water sample and we check that for suspended solids and any odd smells, oil sheens, anything like that. That's part of the MS4 program.
2 times a year?
2 times a year, yes.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for MS4 today? Okay, all right, then we'll move on. Okay, I'd like to get a motion to combine and approve the decommissioning plans for Lincoln KA 32 and the 2000 North Solar decommissioning plans. Everybody got those? Okay, Ms. Weber? Okay, Mr. Marion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We're done. Go ahead.
Clicker's not working. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Got it. All right, this is 2 solar farms, the Lincoln KA32. I believe that's the one up by Diversitech in Manteno, and 2000 North Solar is the one out on North Street, just past Skyline Road on the north side of the road. Both of these were under the old rules with the because they both have special use permits, and there's the bond amounts that their decommissioning plans are proposing. 191,000 and some change for Lincoln, and 236 for 2000 North Solar. So we do need a motion to approve these.
Oh, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And you voted on it. All right. Down here we voted. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
You got your vote.
Anybody have any question about those? This is to cover later when we have to take them down. Everybody read through them. It's pretty stuff. Somebody went to a lot of trouble to put them together. Okay. Next, we have a ZBA case.
Nope, you missed
Oh,
2.
okay. Oh, they're mixed together, okay. Okay, in the planning, we have a request to extend SCP-2 funds for the demolition of 7292 Baseline Road in St. Anne. And we also have another one here. We have a request to extend SCP-2 funds for demolition of 2874 South Route 115, Kankakee, Illinois. Okay.
Yeah, the SCP-2 funds is a grant that we received for the purpose of either rehabilitating or removing dilapidated abandoned properties. The land bank has requested to expend parts of our fund for these 2 properties. They're both in the county's jurisdiction and very high on our list of abandoned properties. They were inspected by my inspectors, and the recommendation was that they both be tore down. There was not enough worth saving, including the foundations on them. There's the baseline one there you can see in the photo. The roof's caving in, the floors are just about gone. It was not enough to keep. And then the State Route one, that's the condition of that one there. So they do not have any, they will be going out for bids for the demolition and following all of those procedures. The grant will pay up to $40,000 per structure, so they are requesting permission for us to move forward with up to $40,000 for each building. I do not anticipate it to cost that much. Our average has been about 20. But you never know if you're going to find asbestos or underground storage tanks or anything like that that can definitely raise that price tag.
Yeah. Seems like one is definitely bigger than the other, so maybe the price won't be so much.
Well, that includes outbuildings too.
Okay.
They will
Take
clear
everything?
the lot.
Okay.
So both of them have garages and some sheds and things like that that will
Okay.
also need to be removed. Ben, did you have anything to add to
Yeah,
that?
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I just want to say tree and shrub removal is part of this activity. The land bank will receive 3 bids as far as this activity is concerned for their policy. This is still falling within the IDA process as it relates to demolishing properties. So I guess maybe just kind of as an overarching, as the grantee, we don't want to make a staff decision as to allowing the land bank to use these funds for demolition. This is this board's responsibility as far as the use of funds are concerned. There might be some activities that the county board wants to undertake. So we thought it a good process to receive the request from the land bank, take it through our full committee structure, and then to the full board for approval. We will then go through the full IDA process on getting satisfactory approval of the individual parcels, making sure that we're in compliance with their entire process. So this is kind of the blessing to move forward in following the rules.
Okay. Anyone? Okay. Mr. Eckhoff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question. I don't know who would have the answer. How much money is in the SCP-2 funds?
400,000?
400,000.
487,000, I think, was our award amount.
Okay, thank you.
We have not expended any of SCP-2 at this point. There's legal components of these, obviously title work that needs to be done, and at that point, if we get approval on the properties and IDA allows us to use maybe the legal time to apply for the judicial deed, we can kind of wrap that all up in this up to $40,000 number. But they do allow up to $40,000 in just demo costs alone.
Yeah. In these 2 instances here, that might work that way in the future. The land bank actually has judicial deeds on those, so they own them now.
Okay. Mr. Marion.
This might be a silly question, but since I've only been here for a few months, is there like a ranking system on what properties are
Prioritized?
type priority versus?
Yeah, about a year ago, I actually did a presentation to this committee of, there's probably 236, somewhere in that range, of properties that are on our list in this type of condition or worse. These are towards the top of the list, and how they get closer to the top of the list is really their location and proximity. Is there other houses around it that can be disturbed or a danger to? Are they on a major thoroughfare where they're just an ugly blight? They take a higher ranking than an abandoned farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. And of course, their condition also plays into it. These 2 were in our top 10
Thank you.
Yes.
So Ryan, a few months ago, or a few years ago, right? We made a list. Was that years ago?
It started about 3 years ago. I drove every road in the county and looked at every structure in our jurisdiction.
And then every one of us had list of structures we really want. There's only 2 for me, or 1 or 2 for me, and some of them got 20 of them. So it's hard to, you know, get a balance, because I got a couple I'd like to get rid of
And
too,
we
so.
did, yeah. I mean, we revisited that top 10 list when we got started with this, and I think 6 of them have been taken care of on their own. Either the owner tore them down, or somebody else bought them and rehabbed them.
Awesome. Good deal. Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, Mr. Lowry.
Reference the 800, it's 800,000 that, 400,000?
487.
Is that like a yearly thing, or is that just total that's in
one-time
there?
grant.
It's a one-time grant,
Yeah.
okay.
There might be a time limit on it.
We can apply for another grant, I believe, Ben.
Yeah,
Ben's
so
the grant
this is,
expert on that.
we received funds under SCP-1. So this is the IDA Strong Communities program. This is a program that the Illinois Housing Development Authority manages on a regular basis using essentially funneled federal dollars. They make those dollars available for demolition, rehabilitation, and maintenance of properties within communities. We have been fortunate enough to receive grant allocations in both 1 and 2. I will say we rely pretty heavily on the land bank as far as the acquisition efforts. We at the county, we don't really want to be landlords generally, right? So, you know, taking over properties and then maintaining them, mowing them. Now, you can if you're a city, and it makes sense, and the city of Kankakee has been a recipient of SCP. They mow properties on a regular basis within the community, just because when you live in town, you usually expect your neighboring properties to be mowed more often. You can use funds in this program for things like that. Ideally, I would say that these 2 properties notwithstanding, these properties are in very bad shape. Ideally, what happened to the other 6 in the top 10. We want them to get remedied on their own. We will recommend stepping in if we can use our funds to, you know, clear title, remove back taxes, maybe help with a little bit of rehabilitation to get somebody into that property so they start paying taxes. The ultimate goal here is to go from dilapidated to gone, or new, or repaired, or non-taxpayer to taxpayer. And it's kind of the 2, you know, avenues we like to kind of think about our work.
Yeah. Okay.
Just ask one more question.
Sure. Go ahead.
Reference the money though, is it like, I know it's a grant, is there a time frame that we have to spend that money?
5.
I had it down there. Sorry, I turned it
Is
off.
there a
Yes,
time frame?
there's a time frame. So we're in quarter 5 of an 8-quarter cycle. So we have probably through maybe about this time next year for expenditures. We can request additional time. I will say we applied for $750,000 because that was the cap. This is one of those things that I met with Andy on like a Friday and was like, hey, I was under the impression the land bank would be applying for the funds. This is really the type of activity they're designed for. They just were like, we don't feel we're ready. So Andy and I kind of slapped together an application over a weekend, and they awarded us $500,000, and it's awesome. Ultimately, we won't spend all those dollars. And we can apply for SCP-3 if we think it is prudent. I do believe, though, we should probably look at narrowed scopes for these, where if we have some targeted properties we want to see managed within the county, we should apply for those and apply for the appropriate funds. But that kind of blanket application and then not having properties brought to us for 5 quarters, it makes it a little difficult to ask again for $500,000.
Okay, Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you.
Ms. Wheeler, go ahead.
And the situation we have now is we have that list, as we mentioned, and you know, that was great work back then to identify, and I'm sure some others need to be added to, and as we said, you know, some have come off, but in the general relationship between the county and the land bank, and the city is doing this as well, the land bank could request that they use some of this SCP-2 money to do the same thing for a property in the city of Kankakee.
Mhm.
We just didn't give them the $400,000. They said it'll go through the same process. Here's the property, here's why we want to tear it down, because the ultimate goal is to not tear down a house, it's to get it back paying taxes, to get a family living in that house. So, but sometimes you just got to punt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, you can't go, it's too much. The landed cost in that, you know, to get the utilities and everything going. Yeah, it's just too much. So I think that it's a good system and we're just starting it. This is the first time that you're seeing it here in this committee meeting. It's a good discussion, but don't be surprised when the city requests that of the land bank and we're approving it. That is why, because we applied for the grant. It's our funds. We'll take care of the home team, but we definitely want to get tax-paying properties in the city of Kankakee, which are mostly on the north and east side.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Oh,
And business locations. That's another big part of this.
I had a quick question for Mr. Wilson. When they get all done, they're gonna grade these and seed them so they're mowable? Is that the way we're supposed to leave them?
Yeah, so this will be, specifications will be similar to our specifications as far as our demos are concerned. We've shared those with Dr. Crawford, where they will break off the foundation 36 inches or 24 inches below finish grade and backfill. They will appropriately abandon all septic systems by crushing the bottoms out. They'll cap all wells as required by the county health department, and then they will be graded and seeded. We kind of look at this as there's a little bit of a side lot disposition program, right? The idea in a city, you demolish a house and then hopefully you convince the neighboring property owners to take it on, where it gives them a little more space in the side yard. They ultimately mow it. They pay a small amount of taxes on it. And that's a way to dispose of these pieces of property. The issue for us becomes ultimately, we don't want to mow and insure a piece of property just in a residential subdivision or other within the county, and neither really does the land bank long term. I will say that they're maybe afforded some grace in some of these rural areas, but if the land bank owns it and doesn't mow it, we'll be calling them about mowing it, in the code enforcement department. And obviously we have a very good relationship with them, and it's not adversarial, but we don't want the ultimate goal for them to have a long-term headache either. You can see from the images, and if you want to read into the inspection reports, these properties are bad and need to go. They haven't become attractive to date, but certainly, and I know, John, you had one in your area where you don't want them to become attractive nuisances, so you get rid of them, because nobody's really just going and playing in a random open field. And if they're playing ball on a lot, and they live in the neighborhood, that's what we used to do. This ultimately will be about getting this property as safe for use generally as can be by making it a level graded site.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Marion, if you have anything in your district you're particularly concerned about, get us the properties together, or take quick pictures with your phone or something so Dells knows where they're at. Because I don't know if Ray had any or not. I don't remember when he turned it in. It seems like
Rockville and Mantino?
Yeah, I don't think so.
There was a couple in Rockville.
Not too many. Yeah. Well, I've been trying to pound that one for a while.
We actually just talked to the owner last week.
Yes, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just thought it might be a good idea in the next month or so, maybe send that list out, an updated list, to remove the 6 properties to maybe all board members, saying, hey, if especially the rural ones, the ones in the city, they'll deal with the city, but the rural ones saying, hey, here's the list of what we got. If you got something else, let us know and we'll take a look at it. That kind of thing. So it's not, I would say, burning a hole, as they say, but we might want to get on that. At least give them a list in their hands. That's probably updated already, I would imagine.
The one on 45 I've been trying to get down, and the one on 10,000, and I kind of wanted to put a welcome to Kankakee County sign and spray paint it on the side of that one that's there now. That we could do that there. So, okay. Anyone else have anything for any discussion about the demolition plans? Okay. Did we vote on those already? Oh, I didn't get a motion or anything. Okay. We get a motion. We combine and approve that the funds for 79 or 7292 and 2847 request to demolish. Get a motion in a second. Mr. Marion, Ms. Weber, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're spending money, so we got a roll call. Okay. Sorry. Get a roll call, please.
Mr. Featherling?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Ms. Andrade? Ms. Turner? Mr. Marion? Mr. Lowy?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have ZBA case 2405, request for a variance 121-146 I-2, side yard setback, road adjacent on a parcel generally situated in section 15 of Bourbonus Township. Petitioner is Richard O'Connor, property owner and applicant. Okay. Everybody get a chance to look at that.
You want a motion first?
Yeah, we'll get a motion to approve this here. Anybody? No? Ms. Weber? Ms. Turner, gonna do a second? Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. O'Connor owns the property outlined in red. It's on the corner of Brevard Street and Armour Road up in Bourbonnais Township. It's a corner lot. His home is was built back in the early 1970s and apparently did not take setbacks into consideration. On a corner lot, you basically have two front yards. You have your normal front yard has a 30-foot setback, and then your side yard road adjacent has a 30-foot setback. His house currently sits about 20 feet from that, so his house is 10 feet into that setback. He would like to build a porch on the front of his house where his front door is, and that's the little blue box you see there. And while it will not intrude into the setback any farther than the house, it is a new structure within 10 feet inside of the setback, thus a variance would be required. It went to public hearing on August 12th. Zoning board voted 7-0 to recommend approval. There were no objections, and staff has no objections either.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Looks like a pretty easy setback one down.
It's more of a technicality, really.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. Can we get it all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, none. Okay, that's it. For transportation, Mr. Wilson's here somewhere, right? We got transportation. We have Kankakee County Title VI plan. Ben's gonna update us on it. Go ahead.
We're back.
Yeah, that's good.
On more Title VI conversations. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 requires that we do not discriminate against anybody for race, color, or national origin. I say this every time I come up here. We do not discriminate against anyone for anything at all, ever. That being said, we had an audit with the FTA and their consultant RLS and DOT of our rural transportation program. One of the audit findings for us was that our Title VI plan was identified as a Title VI plan and policy. We used a 4-factor analysis in the review, which is required under an executive order for limited English proficiency. And since we didn't meet the metrics, they didn't want us doing a full 4-factor analysis. So what you have in front of you, and very graciously they offered this, RLS reviewed our Title VI plan, made the appropriate changes that they assure us FTA will approve, as they are the reviewer for FTA. And so we have a new Title VI plan that we are requesting to be adopted for the county as it relates to our rural transportation program. This is not a Title VI plan for any of our other activities. That's the other thing too. They want it isolated. So this is not a Title VI plan for the other activities which we undertake. And that was where we were maybe being a little more giving in our Title VI plan, where we would say things like this is for rural transit and all other entity, activities of the entity, or that this applies to the county and any of our vendors. And they would say, no, the vendor has to have their own Title VI. Yours does not apply to them. So please remove and any of our vendors from it. And that's a lot of the cleanup we did within the plan. So we did look at our community as a whole and identified where the limited English proficiency residents are. We do not meet the metric of number of users per thousand or percentage in general. So we did not need to go into a full 4-factor analysis, but we did touch on that as far as the plan is concerned. I will say, at least as at the staff level, maybe just a bit of commentary for you. The executive order that mandates LEP is not part of the Title VI Act of 1964. It's not even part. I mean, this is something that that happened under some recent presidency under the current president. So obviously not part of the act or the subsequent 1991 amendment, but it is something that the Federal Transit Administration is requiring us to include, and we do think it's generally a good idea. So that will we have a separate notice now that is posted on our website. Well, notices are posted on each of our and every one of our buses, and it allows for a complaint process of an individual user if they feel that they're being discriminated against. It affords them the ability to reach out. So for us, Title VI happens in administration. They would reach out to upstairs. Anybody who has a Title VI issue within our transit provider would reach out to our transit provider, and then we're kind of the general overseer of that. So we, as part of our program compliance with Showbus, also look at their, if they have any complaints that aren't resolved. So this just, again, is an overarching document. I will say this to you probably in 2 years again. I'll be back to you with some tweaks to the Title VI program. I feel like when I started here 5 and some odd months years ago, we were talking about Title VI. We've been through 4 iterations since I've been here. This is an ever-evolving thing that's tied to a piece of legislation that was passed 80 years ago, and will continue to ever evolve it. It just kind of is what it is. But this document, DOT and FTA are telling me, is satisfactory and will make them happy going forward, at least for the near future.
And that's what matters. Okay, anyone have any questions? Ms. Weber, go ahead.
Thank you. I see on one of the pages where the definition, minority percentage 20%, poverty 20%, disability 2%, and you indicated that this county, that area is not meeting those.
Yes.
According to the chart. That's
yeah, so we have a kind of a big table in there where we analyze it. So kind of here's the interesting part of this, where from an analytics standpoint, the way we analyze LEP within our community, because we do not receive census data by the geography of River Valley Metro.
Yes.
So we don't have they don't have a polygon within the Census Bureau. So I don't have what is their LEP and then what is the rural area of the county LEP. So we kind of have to do a little bit of blended math. And that's why you have such a large table where we analyze all of the language classes in all of the rural areas. And so we essentially take the county, exclude the cities that are in the urban area, so cities and villages, and then that leaves us kind of a leftover percentage, and we don't meet any one of those classes on the does not speak English very well category. So I apologize, the table's a bit much, but it was a recommendation of RTA to include all of our math into the actual document.
Okay, Ms. Weber, go ahead again.
Thank you again. A question then was, what if we did? What would you have to do?
So we would do a full 4-factor analysis if we did that, and we would have to offer additional services out of that 4-factor analysis. So we might have to offer translation services. Again, there are ways for us to do it as it currently sits, but we could potentially be, depending on how much of a percentage we're talking about, you might have to have bilingual bus drivers. You might have to have direct numbers for bilingual. You might have to offer TTY through the telephone service. There were things that they would, that RLS and FTA would make recommendations to us as to how to better implement a program offering those services for limited English proficiency users.
Oh, and excuse me again, but what's nice is your chart shows the language that there are.
And that's, we wanted to break it down into every language. There's not a lot of users in every one of the languages. We did look at both like the geographic distribution of those languages and also the core numbers of languages, just to ensure that there weren't any individual trips. Say you go to a targeted neighborhood that maybe was 100% of a certain language speaker. We don't really even have those, where we're not the way the routes are designed, we don't have a need even on the individual routes. So as a whole, we don't have a need, and then on that kind of more micro, we don't necessarily have a need. Now, I will say, if a user does contact us and say, is, you know, and this is where we have a Title VI plan, and so does our vendor. They call for a ride to Show Bus on the 800 number, and they don't get satisfaction for whatever reason, and they feel that they're being discriminated against. They're afforded the ability to also contact us, and then we're able to review that to see if there's actual discrimination or just an allegation of discrimination, and that would be, I can tell you, this is something I've never had to do in my time, either here or other, but it does afford anyone that ability to make a claim. I will say that people don't get rides sometimes, but that has nothing to do with protected classes under Title VI.
Oh.
Okay, Mr. Alexander.
This is just a question. Why is the title coordinator Anita, and maybe, I don't, would the state's attorney's office be better, or I guess what's the reason?
The basis of that was the document that was the Title VI document when I first came on had Anita listed as the county administrator, you know, as functioning for county functions, as a kind of an overarching that it would be her. I mean, certainly we would be willing to entertain. That they required me to put her email address in the document. I was like, and then I went to our website and it's right there anyway. So I was like, okay, it's not maybe as bad, but I'm like, I don't necessarily want an email, and maybe that would be where we would develop an email that might be, you know, Title VI at k3county.net, that's checked in, you know, something like along those lines. But everyone's email who works here is already out and available for the public anyway. But yeah, that's kind of how that's managed. Again, we don't receive a lot of calls on that or emails on that. If it was something that did become cumbersome, I think that would be something we would have to talk about as to whether or not we would want to afford a position as it relates to you know, non-discrimination. But ultimately, as we currently sit, I say we're in a pretty good place with the document.
Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Foster.
I just wanted to say, I just rode the bus to Midway, and I was not discriminated against. It was a very good ride. The bus driver was courteous. I had a very heavy bag, but he lifted it, so I'm pleased with the service.
Okay. That's not our service, but I am pleased to hear that Metro does a very good job. Dell and I talk a little bit about that, and a shameless plug for Metro. If you want a cheap fare to get to Midway Airport, certainly look that up. They somehow manage in traffic to be on time every time.
They do,
or at least within a window. They do a really good job with that. And certainly, if you're in a rural area, you can get from your home to the transfer station here in Kankakee, and then you can get on a bus and get to Midway as well. So maybe you could use both of our services if that made sense for you. You know, certainly reach out if you need a ride, though.
Yeah. Actually, I had an early flight, so what I did, I spent the night in Manteno because they had said that the Bourbonnais location may be because of the construction, it would be better to go to Manteno. So that's what I did.
Awesome.
It worked out.
It's a nice place to stay.
Yeah, giving money to the county, you know.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, anyone else have anything? Mr. Wilson's up here standing here, may as well hit him with something. Okay, we're all good.
Did we get a vote on that?
Get a vote to move forward?
Okay, vote to move forward with the Title VI program. Anyone have, okay, Mr. Lowry? Get a second. Mr. Eckhoff? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Okay. Next up, we have the GIS vendor selection for the ortho imagery, where they fly all around the county and update everything for Dell.
Yes, it's been almost 5 years. Every 5 years we redo our digital orthos. Last flyover was spring of 2020, so we are intending to do it again in spring of 2025. Went out for our request for proposals. We got 5 proposals back. The GIS committee interviewed each company and reviewed all of their documents and submittals, and they recommend that we hire Surdex, a Bowman company, to be our provider. Surdex is also the company that has provided our aerial photos the last 2 flyovers.
Okay, Mr. Marion. Go ahead.
Was the pixel resolution the last time we did it?
This would be the same 3-inch pixel resolution. We did ask for options on 1.5 inch. Those came out a little pricey, and also we have to take into consideration our servers being able to store and serve that. And it's somewhat new. You know, when we first started doing aerial photos, we were at 6-inch pixels. Then 3-inch became the standard, so we went to that. When 1.5 inch become the standard, probably 2030, then we should be looking to go to those. And our infrastructure should be able to handle it by then. So their bid is $131,500.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Wheeler.
When's the next update due after this? Would it be around that 2030 time?
2030, every 5 years.
Every
I mean, that
5 years. I just want to make sure we're. I didn't hear if you said it. I apologize, but I thought it was every 5.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an arbitrary schedule, but based on revenue and need, 5 years sounds about right. I mean, we could do them every year. There's nothing stopping us except for being able to afford it. Yes.
Okay, Ms. Weber.
Thank you. I just wondered what period of time does it take for that to happen? 3 months to get it all done? Or?
The flyover?
Mm-hmm.
About a week and a half.
Really? And then report back
Yes.
to you.
They intend to, there's a window for when they can do it. It has to be no snow on the ground, but no leaves on the trees.
Oh.
So
Boy,
as early as late February and as late as mid to late April. That's the flying time. We won't know that till we get there. And then once the photos are in the can, so to speak, then we're looking at probably 3 to 4 months of them stitching them all together, rectifying them, cleaning them up, doing what they have to do. So about August of 2025, we should start seeing our new aerial photos.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Any more questions about that? Got a motion.
Miss,
Pardon?
Okay, Miss Weber, I think. Yeah.
Ms. Weber. Go ahead, Carol.
I just wondered, the other 4 proposals were higher, obviously,
Not all of them.
but you chose this as the best one for our
They chose this one. They weren't all higher, but based on their interview and presentation, the quality just did not meet our standards.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Get a motion in a second. Mr. Eckhoff, get a second by Mr. Lowry. Spending money here, so we get a roll call, please.
Mr. Featherling?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Ms. Andrade? Ms. Turner? Mr. Marion? Mr. Lowy?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, under old business though, we have anything? Does anybody have anything
I
under
do
old
not.
business today? Oh, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, I had a question. Bathymetrics just popped into my head. We have data, but it hasn't been mapped yet. Is that accurate, Dell? Or
We
are waiting
have
for the last data?
about 2/3, maybe a little more, of the data actually sitting here in this building. The rest of it is on its way, but that's just the raw data and has to be mapped out and manipulated, yes.
Okay, alrighty.
It's not ready for display yet.
Just curious, would the regatta race area be one of the areas that we have or not? I'm just
No.
curious. I didn't think so. I thought it was up the other
It's,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I got one.
It would be nice to have for the regatta. That's why I was bringing it up. But we'll have that for everybody. What would you say? 4 months? It should be mapped.
I would hope
It
so.
takes a while, but
Yeah.
what it'll do is it'll give everybody a picture of what the floor of the river looks like,
Oh,
where all the high spots and low spots, as the case may be, are when we took that picture. They could have that on their phone as they're out there on the river. We could put QR codes on signs, so before as they're launching their boat, they can scan it, and if they forgot that was there. There's no guarantee that the sand hasn't drifted, And but at least gives people an idea of where the channel should be.
Yeah,
It's a nice tool. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a nice resource for people.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Anything else, Andy? That's it?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Anyone else have anything else under, for, old business, and then we'll go into new business? We don't have any new business today, Dell, do we?
I do not.
Okay, anyone else? No, we don't have any new business, so we get a motion to adjourn. Mr. Lowry, second by Mr. Marion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.